Chat, here we go. We got ourselves a good server. It's Toxiic versus Mzxy for the final spot in the Fear Fest finale. The biggest tournament I've ever run by a long shot, and one of the biggest tournaments that has existed in one's period. Only a couple top it in terms of prize pool. So it is quite the tournament to qualify for, and either one of Toxiic or Mzxy will be able to do it. Mzxy falling in the first chance at the qualifying in the upper bracket against Flakes, and in fact Toxiic also falling in the upper bracket to Flakes. So Flakes eliminating both these players who are playing good games today, just not good enough to take down the 1v1 mastermind that is Flakes. Toxiic came in as a very high seed in the tournament. Flakes was able to take over that high seed position and push his way all the way through to the end. And Toxiic battle through the lowers. A dangerous lowers too. Best of one lowers can be very scary, but Toxiic, the kind of player who can make it through. And he did have to play some best of ones in the process of getting to this best of 5. I want to actually see. I'm going to pull up over on the side. These guys runs through the tournament so far because they are interesting indeed. Toxiic, after getting knocked out, or sorry, getting knocked down by Flakes, had to play 3 different best of ones. He had to beat Hamo, which is a Middle Eastern player. HMO is what his name displays as. Had to beat him in a best of 1. Had to beat Atao in a best of 1. That is definitely a very tough game. Eliminated Atao. Had to play Hyder, the Italian, in a best of 1. Was able to win all those. Then got to play Juicy in a best of 3. And he beat Juicy, the Frenchman, in the best of 3. Beat Devouf, another Italian, in a best of 3 in the semifinal. And now is finally back with his chance to qualify in a best of 5 against Mzxy. Cookie Crisp, thank you for the Prime. The 2 months of Prime, much appreciated. Mzxy, on the other hand, caught his only loss in the grand final to Flakes, with wins over the likes of Gomb, Atao, and Shoddy. So some very solid wins for Mzxy, taking Atao down, and then probably took over Atao's position as a very high seed in the tournament, because I think a lot of people expected Atao to do well. And both Mzxy and Flakes, the players who made it to the grand finals, were the ones to push them down to the lowers and force them to eliminate each other. Now, can Toxiic show that if it weren't for Flakes, he would have been able to qualify with ease? We'll have to see. 2-2 as Mzxy ties it back up. Was Shoddy the cheater? You know, that's a good way to, or an interesting way to put it. Did he cheat in the sense that he admitted to having someone else play on his account? Yes. Did that person who played for him lose both games immediately? Also, yes. So, luckily it didn't really affect the tournament very much. And we'll explain to Shoddy that you cannot have someone else play in your position. Yes, both of these players are victims of Flakes. Mzxy wall dashing down to this ball in the corner. Toxiic having to late get back. Mzxy, what a surprising backflip. It's actually just directly in. A 3rd goal for Mzxy as he's working down Toxiic. Eventually finds his angle, actually comes off the back of a pretty surprising backflip shot. Mzxy is live as well. Oh, is that right? Chat, please go check out Mzxy. I think I follow him already, but I forget what his tag is. Or I don't know why I'm saying the word tag. What his Twitch username is. Yes, he will get a 4th goal. It is hard to win these tournaments streaming. And therefore, you should reward players who try it with a follow. For sure. Mzxy. Oh, sorry, Mzxy. Mzxy, we talked about this. We talked about this in the meantime. It is Mzxy. As he said, I was pronouncing it incorrect. I apologize. I thought I remember us having talked about it before, but obviously not. He is up 4-3. Mzxy on the bounce dribble. Is he going to absorb what he had done to him by Flakes? Sure, it's got to be very tempting after Flakes breaks you down on the ground, cutting dribbles in what feels like such a safe fashion. You might want to try and do the same to other people. Mzxy shot off the volley. Toxic feels backflips in his retreat. He was just trying to speed jump up to the ball. Oh yeah, that would have been clear for sure. Definitely would have been better than what he ended up doing. Mzxy, a 6'4". Toxic bumped off the ball. Able to use the flights for a wave dash, but still not enough. Long best of 5 here, but I have a feeling Toxic would prefer not to go down early. Mzxy pushing it past Toxic just barely to the right, and a good enough bounce to be able to follow it up. 7-4 with 30 seconds left to go. He was faster than Nupo in Unreal units. Yeah, Mzxy, I'll get it right eventually. In the regionals was very fast. He's on a team that performed a little bit poorer than Nupo, but I remember when you checked stats for fastest speed, Nupo and Mzxy were both there. It just, Mzxy's team had a little bit less team success than Nupo's did. Toxic wall to air dribble for the road. Mzxy definitely going up 1-0 in the series. Can he show that he made it to the upper bracket final for a reason? He starts strong. Wins game number 1. Yeah, Toxic does like to do those pogo bounces. Karate, once upon a time, I believe there was a curse for all the players in my double elimination qualifiers to lose the grand final meant you would lose the loser's final as well. Or the winner's final, then you'd lose the loser's final. Because it was tough to play off of a loss, maybe. But I think that was broken. I think that has since been broken. It's not exclusively how it's gone every time. It has been a trend for sure, which would mean Mzxy losing to Toxic. But so far, that does not seem to be the case. Toxic demoed in the corner. And Mzxy cannot find a way through. Backed off to the midfield. Toxic just missed that corner boost. Yeah, he's got to turn around and go back and get it. But he actually ends up being positioned decently for the save either way. Toxic now going to have full field in front of him. Pre-jump from Mzxy. Toxic gets wheels on the ball for a reset. Able to pop it up a couple times, and can he finish it off for a goal? He can. He actually forced an own goal, I think. It was inside the post, and it might have been bouncing out, but Mzxy just finishes it off. Yeah, that was coming out. Yeah, VODs are enabled always. You can always go and check out the VODs. Mzxy undercutting Toxic and taking his free goal. Toxic hovering outside Mzxy's net, waiting for his opportunity to strike. He got the miss, and now he'll get the goal. 2-2. Chat, I know we're going to have to say it once. We're probably going to have to say it a million times, but this is not Mzxy. We are not talking about the Frenchman Mzxy, who dominates the 1v1 scene. We are talking about the Middle Eastern player, Mzxy, with the ground cut. I don't know, man. Maybe he is absorbing some of what Flakes did to him, because now he knows the power slide cut is the way to get Toxic to go flying past. And the title put Mzxy, not Mzxy. I guess we could. Maybe you already said, but it's just Mzxy. That's it. You're banned. Toxic, a third goal. Little camera shake as a celebration. What's the thing you learned from? Oh, Flakes just loves his power slide cuts. He got Mzxy at least once with one. We just saw him do the same to Toxic to get him flying past the ball. Toxic, all the space in the world, and an opportunity to take an edge in the game. It is just going to be a direct flick at net. Mzxy approaches, trying to cover a good majority, but he didn't realize how fast Toxic was going. Toxic was rushing to that net. That is going to get credited as a shot. I'm not sure why. I didn't even think it was on target, but it must have been, as Toxic gets a save. Able to drive through this power slide cut and into Mzxy. And actually might have earned himself an opportunity to score. Yeah, as he's going to box out. Get a fifth. Keep Mzxy from being able to track him down. He had pre-flipped a different way. Might have been able to undercut Toxic, but he flipped first and looked for the bump later. If Flakes gets knocked out first round, what's the prize money? I'm not sure there is any. I think the prize money breakdown is anybody who makes the playoffs wins at least some money, which is everybody except for those who finish last in the pool. And then you also get $100 per series that you win. So if you win any series and then you get last, you'll still get some prize. You get $100 per series win. So if Flakes were to go 0-3, I think that comes along with, unfortunately, no prize pool. Toxic cannot demo Mzxy, but has a 6-3 lead. He's been able to get a 3-0 run here. The moments when this game felt close, he was able to break away. Ooh, Mzxy just taking the bounce dribble into a power shot and getting a fourth goal. Toxic could not react in time. Mzxy needing to work 2 goals back. Just for another bounce dribble to a power shot. It's a well-played shot. Toxic having to continue to play defense on very little. That mistouch might have given Toxic what he needs. No, Toxic needed to recognize he was going to get demoed. It seemed pretty clear. Oh my goodness, he actually might get back for this. Okay. He had no business getting back at all because Mzxy should have just side flip this ball or flip into this ball for the immediate shot, but he didn't want to miss it into the post. And Toxic had a chance to recover, just couldn't get there. to be a huge comeback in this game for Mzxy, especially considering a 2-0 lead. If he pulls it off, is eons better than the series being tied at 1-1. Toxic trying to gain control of this ball without any boost. Doing his best to use single jumps and wave dashes, but still going to be stuck in net. Only a couple pads to work with. Mzxy couldn't quite place it in. In fact, hit it off the post and out. Toxic, very lucky, able to dodge the demo this time around. And now, is he going to take the ball to Mzxy? Mzxy could have just dove and maybe scored there. Hits the ball to the back wall. Bump from Toxic. Slows down, but does not stop Mzxy, who now has a bit of open field in front of him. Oh, Toxic, the pre-flip was enough to get Mzxy to miss. 1-1 in games. So we have a final best of 3 to see who's the finishing player in the FeerFest finale. Game number 2. Sorry, game number 3. Toxic and Mzxy. These two guys searching for their second win. Yeah, FeerFest 1. The first time I ran FeerFest, I actually did the same schedule. Not the same schedule. Sorry, the same format of pool play into this single elimination. But I streamed every game, and I did not lock in players to times beforehand because I knew that would be too hard to do. So the end result was games scheduled over the course of multiple months, I felt like, before we eventually got them all. This time around, that shouldn't be the case. This time around, everything is happening in the next couple days. We got streamers to help us cover it all. Same with Feer 500 Season 2. Feer 500 as well. All the early games, I had every single match streamed on my stream. And that resulted in a really hard to schedule time because Feer 500 Season 1 was like Salt Mine 1. It was full 8-player round robin, which of course is a ton of games. Mzxy chip to the back wall and continuation for a second goal. 15 viewer streams with top 10 1v1 players. That's probably not true, right? I think if like Mile or Chronic or Kinsey, some of the players who were like top 100 or top 10 at the time, probably had more than 15. Probably like 20, maybe 30. Mzxy save off his own backboard, looking for the escape into the counterattack, but actually had to drive away from Toxic, roll into the other corner. Long shot from Toxic as a relief mechanism to buy himself some time, and did exactly that. Got a mistake from Mzxy. He's got possession in his back corner now. Mzxy chasing him down, but just as a fake, and now Toxic has control on the top of his car. He's going to go air, dribble, bump, and Mzxy makes it around and gets the save. Avoids the in-and-out bump attempt from Toxic. He's left with not much left over, and Toxic is going to get a little bump at the midfield on a third goal. A very impressive save from Mzxy not to get air dribble bump there. Toxic trying to launch a power shot past Mzxy. Can't do so. This 50 though goes favorably. for Toxic. He is going to pull back off this ball. He sees Mzxy turning to dive. Figures that he would rather take Mzxy's poor touch and then follow up afterwards. Toxic catch into a shot off the bounce. And Mzxy gets surprised here as he turns away and then decides to try and come back to the ball. Felt like that was his best chance of challenging. If he double jumps instead of front flipping, he probably does intercept it. Pinch from Toxic. I think that's in. Oh no, it's off just barely. The backboard and out. Would have been such an impressive pinch. Toxic almost got this over the top of Mzxy enough for it to just get launched in. But Mzxy does keep it out. Down 2 with 2 minutes left to go. This net feels very open, but just barely no angle from Mzxy, who's going to launch this ball at the back wall. Toxic tries to keep it glued to the back wall. Should be able to take control of it in the opposite corner. Mzxy, this has got to be a temporary attack, I would think, but maybe he's got more boost than I thought. The wave dash off the reset. Toxic does take the boost and shows that that was a bit of a greedy attempt from Mzxy, who really wanted to get it to work, but instead we'll have to watch as Toxic takes the ball the other way for a 5th goal. Toxic waiting patiently for the incredibly aggressive challenge of Mzxy. This was a super greedy pinch attempt, though. And Mzxy able to take control. Still those strong touches every time with the ball. Toxic there to stop them and takes away the second one. Turns that into a goal of his own. 6-2 with 1:11 to go. Is Mzxy better than Mzxy? There are very few players in the world who are better than Mzxy, I would say. Could be Mzxy if we see him turn around this game so far and maybe make a great performance in pool play. I think you'd have to favor Mzxy right now. Toxic just does not seem to be worried in net anymore. In fact, he's playing around, looking for these pinches. Feeling confident up 4 with 40 seconds left to go. And Mzxy maybe trying to show him that he shouldn't feel too confident. He like legit unplugged his controller, it looks like. Toxic mistouch. That's going to be another goal. I mean, it's becoming very possible off of the courtesy goal that Toxic gave. And while giving away 1 goal, is it really that big of a deal? Almost the bigger problem is that you force yourself into a kickoff, and then if the kickoffs pile up and kickoff after kickoff doesn't go your way, there's no way to escape the kickoff. Players do try and escape the kickoff by half flipping out of it, but I tell you what, the square kickoff is the one you're least likely to do that. So he is just going to go to the ball. And this kickoff is not in his favor. In fact, it's a tie game. I swear Toxic was driving around, borderline just messing around because he thought he had the game. But all it takes is a few kickoffs in a row and a desperate challenge and an attempt to stop all the bleeding. But it is just a tie game. Toxic could still win in regulation, with the kickoff finally going in his favor. In fact, he'll get a 7th. So maybe he was always in control. Mzxy is this time the one who turns and dives too early. Game number 3 in favor of Toxic. 1 more for him, and he's into the pool play, the Fear Fest finale. game number 4. And Toxic pull out the win with, I believe, 3 straight wins it would be. I want to say Mzxy won game number 1. We all saw you almost wrote Mzxy. Did I? I make mistakes like that all the time. But it's all good, because whenever I open the replay up, I see the names that were actually in the game. Is the finale today? Sorry, that's been asked. It is not today. The pool play will start tomorrow for EU at 7 p.m. Eastern. Sorry, 7 p.m. Central European time. 7 p.m. Eastern is when all the North American stuff will happen. Neither one of these guys able to find any offense in the first minute, it seems. Oh, Mzxy almost just got a cheeky goal. Toxic being a bit too patient. 360 dribble from Toxic. Gets the ball stolen away. Toxic now, this touch. Has to just try and undercut Mzxy. That's his only opportunity to get back to this one, and did not fully do so. Chat, I just realized, hey, maybe I can snooze it. I'm gonna go snooze this ad that I needed to run in between games. We'll see if we've bought ourselves enough time for the whole series, or at least for this game. We should be good. Mzxy, a 2-0. Can't catch the North American tourney. Going to be way past midnight. That's okay. Just watch whatever you want to watch. Huge whiff by Mzxy. Toxic front foot flick over the top of the shadow. Mzxy is able to redirect it, and Toxic actually took a pretty aggressive side flip, trying to force the ball back into net. He probably wants to bump here. I think that's why he got on that side of the ball. He's just going to demo or bump Mzxy if he went to make a play. Instead, he backed off. The 360, the late flick as he flipped through the ball. Toxic has not been able to find any offense despite having a decent amount of opportunities. Has another one here. Trying to flick behind Mzxy's challenge. Mzxy now, long shots. Toxic should have this save. It's all about the continuation for these two. And Toxic is able to protect the ball into a bounce dribble that he controls. He'll carry. Mzxy behind it. Can't stop him from flicking, but he flicks off of the post. Sorry, off the crossbar and down. And that was not the best of touches from Toxic, who cannot get his wheels underneath him. Mzxy taps towards net. Toxic, patient, controls the ball. Low 50 as he sees the early challenge coming. But Mzxy's going to be able to make it back. Power shot on the half volley. Mzxy to be slightly awkward in net, but Mzxy's doing a good job on defense of getting the initial saves and keeping Toxic from having obvious follow-ups. Toxic now straight down the center of the field, and he'll flick it behind Mzxy for his first. Mzxy just creeping out a bit too much as he starts to set up the shadow. Wave dash kickoff for Mzxy. Bounce dribble for him. This shot leading to almost nowhere, but Toxic, who was focusing more on how he was going to collect the ball quickly and prep for his counterattack, forgot that he did need to save the ball as well and ended up pushing himself too far past it. So down 2 with 1:28 left to go. Toxic once again looking to gain control of the ball on his back wall. Mzxy diving all the way to try and put the pressure on him, but it's not going to work. Toxic with a little bit of style to finish this one off. Mzxy doesn't get a piece of anything Mzxy to his back wall. Minute left to go. Toxic has been really passive, trying to slowly gain control and then work from there. He's going to get an opportunity to do so again. On the back wall, Mzxy, backflip challenge early. As Toxic escaping into the corner of Mzxy, but Demo is going to be huge to waste time for Mzxy, who should be in absolutely no rush to bring this ball back to Toxic. He is going to take a long shot. That was quite the rush indeed, if you ask me. He could have held on to the ball much longer. He's able to earn it right back. He clears to the back wall. Toxic hoping for a demo of his own. Can't connect. And it's just keep away as these guys wrap around the map. Toxic able to tap this away, and finally he's going to get his opportunity. 10 seconds left to go. Toxic immediately backflip challenged, and Mzxy is actually just going to turn it in for a goal himself. It's looking like a Game 5 is imminent here between these two top players. Toxic looked so good in game number 3 before letting Mzxy back in it, making it look close, and now Mzxy wins this game. One last game to see who makes it to Fear Fest coming up next. We have to run an ad, chat. So we're not going to ready up right away. Chat, would you guys like to hear my epic speech that I just gave you in the first 30 seconds? Would you like me to just give it to you again? As I was telling everybody in my immediate vicinity, which would be my 2 dogs, the winner of this game qualifies for the Fear Fest finale, proving to be second best to the only player who didn't lose today, which was Flakes, the player who knocked both these guys down to the lower bracket. Toxic, the Englishman, coming in as the #1 seed for this tournament. Definitely a player that most expected to qualify today, but Mzxy, a player who is certainly worthy of this qualifier, as shown by his performance today, was not necessarily someone that people had pinned to win. So this could be one of his better 1v1 performances in his career, and maybe even able to do more waves if he pushes through and is able to get some pool play wins as well. Toxic could not protect this ball as he chipped it off the wall. Mzxy, really strong first touch. We haven't seen either one of these guys play a ton of aerial game, ton of resets, and yet Mzxy took out a very tough one late in this tournament. Wasn't able to follow it up for much of anything. In fact, Toxic almost got an immediate goal off of this poor touch. Toxic catch, power slide cut. Has the opposite side of the net potentially open for him. That's what he shot for, but Mzxy able to stop it. Toxic, he has been launching flicks just a bit too hard all day today, and he does it again. Launching one off the crossbar. Mzxy able to get this save, and the nice change up in speed from Toxic gets him his second goal. If he plays this quick, Mzxy's taking it away, but he knows to pop up first and play the ball later. Mzxy, what rank? He is frequently, I mean, he's definitely SSL, but he's frequently in the high top 100s. I don't think you can make this far in the tournament with the kind of players that were in it without being a high top 100. And Mzxy certainly does push there when he's on his game. Toxic air dribble bump for a third. Flakes is in top 100. I've seen Flakes come in the top 100 when he's played consecutively for a bit, every once in a while. But maybe he's just built different. Maybe like chat says. But I think if he played, you know, any sort of games, he'd be right back. Unless you think his opponents today were not top 100 worthy, which I believe every single one of them was. Flakes is top 100, barely. I'll see, there you go. Nice 50 by Toxic. He's going to take this as slow as possible. He wants to waste a bit more time before getting his goal. Anyone from the closed qualifier is going to get humbled in the main event is an interesting take, for sure. I think there are tons of main event players here today. I mean, I do appreciate the compliment of the players that I did invite. I think players like Atao, Toxic, and anybody who has, you know, been able to beat some of these other players has shown that they will not necessarily get humbled. So Mzxy, Flakes, these guys who took down top players. I think Mzxy took down Atao. Flakes took down Toxic. How many players will compete in FeerFest total? 8 players for both regions. There are 6 players waiting in pool play already to have Flakes and one of these 2 players join them. Toxic booming this long shot, and that's a bounce that's not in his favor, so it'll be a free goal for Mzxy. The 6 you invited are nuts. It's going to be hard for the 2 close qualifiers to win any series. But the 6 that were invited for a reason, I must agree. They are certainly very capable ones players, but this EU qualifier, pretty darn stacked. I think there was a lot of players. You know, Oski ended up not being able to play. That would have been another huge player who definitely could have made some serious waves in pool play. And a couple other players that just barely weren't able to play. But even then, players who did play can do it as well. That's why there are only 2 qualifier spots. That is a good point. You know, the people who were talking earlier about how there needed to be more players coming out of this qualifier, and now there's people talking about how anybody who comes out of this qualifier doesn't stand a chance against everyone who's invited. So, gives you the 2 sides of the coins. The disrespect on clears, no, that's a great example of somebody I knew I wasn't thinking of that could definitely have done well in pool play as well. Toxic, look at this reset bump. He keeps putting himself down against Mzxy, but he keeps always finding a way back. This time it's going to be off of a low reset that he protects with a bump to get a 6th goal. Mzxy direct kickoff to immediately take back control of the game, which has been the way it's gone. Next tourney should be a 64-player round robin. Take top 32, another round robin, etc. That would be a very effective way to see who the best player was. I will give you that. Mzxy, a challenge. It's going to give him a 2-goal lead. Toxic has had a long day today. All the players have had a long day today. The stream has been live for 4 hours, and I started it right as this tournament started today. So it has been quite the grind for everybody involved. But apparently it hasn't been too hard of a grind for Mzxy, who wave dash kickoffs his way to a 6-9 lead. Kickoff win for Mzxy into Toxic's corner. Toxic is there to take control. He's going to be able to get his own boost. Thought that Mzxy was either going to miss or that he was going to chip the ball right into him because he drove up the wall expecting to get a touch. 30 seconds left to go. Toxic needs this goal, and it's not looking very likely unless he gets a miracle 50 of some sort. And so as Toxic backs off the ball, Mzxy has no incentive to bring it to him. So we'll sit and wait to get a 50 in his favor. Toxic did get a boost spawn that actually made it possible for a moment, but this chip away does make it impossible. Toxic decides that if it were to happen, it's going to happen with a Psycho. But instead, Mzxy punches his ticket to the Fear Fest finale. Coming through the losers bracket, showing that Flakes may have played best today, but Mzxy was second best with a Game 5 win over Toxic and a 10-6 win in Game 5. Mzxy clutching up. You would wreck all these guys? Well, that's true, but still.